All right, welcome everybody. Let me just set this up a little bit better. Okay, let's get started. So today we're going to be doing a little live video painting an old house out in the woods. It's a backwoods kind of a picture. This is what we'll be painting today. All right, we're going to do this in a pretty like loose style painting, and then let's see what we could get out of this. All right, I'm gonna try to keep it quick for you guys. So what I did, let me tell you about the materials I have right now. I'm using an 8x10 canvas panel. Let me tell you about my colors that I have. I have cad yellow, yellow ochre, alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, burnt umber, and white. All right. Also, as far as brushes go, if you've seen my previous video, I started painting, well, not really started painting, but I've been using these Princeton Catalyst brushes, okay? I use them for my oil paintings. I love them. They're smooth when you paint with them. But just lately, I've been using them for acrylics, and man, what a difference using them with acrylics. I think it has to do with the hair excuse me, hair being that it holds just enough water to keep your paints flowing. So with that and the 8x10 canvases I use, the Centurion LX, they're acrylic prime panels. Everything's in the description, and you'll see in the links below all the materials that I use. And you get them through Amazon and stuff like that, or Jerry's Artorama. They just give me a little cut of the action by you going over there, but there's no extra charge to you. You know, actually, let me add a little bit of chromium oxide green. It's just gonna be I don't use it very much, but I have it there. It's an old one. I feel like using it. It's pretty opaque color. So most of these colors here are semi-transparent colors. And why do I like to start with semi-transparent colors is that you can make nice rich darks with semi-transparent colors, versus if you use opaque colors right off the bat, they usually get a little bit muddy and you don't get nice darks with them. You know, you just get like really grayed out colors. So let's get started. Let's see. Also my atomizer, you'll see me spray from time to time. All right, so first I'm going to start out the bigger brush that I have. All right, this is a number 6 flat. Let's start with the surrounding. Let me show you all the peeps that I just got into this. This is what we're doing. All right, you got to see that. So let me start with the darks. Let's go with burnt umber, ultramarine blue, maybe a little bit of crimson, makes a nice dark. All right, so, and it's gonna be a very loose painting, all right? Those of you that's watched me paint kind of already know this. All this is already just in darks. Okay. All right. So I see there's some foreground plants here. So let's put these in. Ultramarine blue. Let's go with cad yellow. Just for now, like that. And there is some like this that goes above the house. Remember, this is just the beginning of the painting. Really no need for details. All right. And remember that acrylic does not really cover as well as oil. So there will be perhaps multiple layers in this. There's some plants right here as well. Let me add some alizarin crimson here, some white. I try not to use white right off the bat, but in this case, it's kind of necessary. So let me just loosely paint these background colors here. Ultramarine blue, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of red. And I will vary my my grays there a little bit. Right now I'm keeping them a little bit on their darker side because I'm going to introduce other colors. There's another tree up here like that. Some of you are probably wondering why I didn't tone my canvas like some others. It all depends really what I'm painting. I don't always want it toned because I want the background, that white, to help illuminate the paint. I see some burnt umber colors here. And remember, these are not the final colors. This is just me putting on colors where I think, the approximate value where I think some of these colors are going to go. I'm not being too careful here. I see some of that green here, like that. All right, let's do the base for the grass. Let's do cad yellow. Let's do that. Let's make an earthy cad yellow, alizarin crimson, and a little bit of ultramarine blue. We'll give you a nice earthy, kind of a sienna color. Just in case you don't have burnt sienna on hand, you could always make some nice variation of burnt sienna by using red, yellow, and blue. And remember, these are semi-transparent colors. All right. Actually, let me make that a little bit darker, because I want that grass to stand out. Yeah, put some of that in here. Maybe some here as well. Vary my colors. There you go. Just goes to show you could do You can't make any mistake when you're painting loose. All right, let's do the roof. Let me show you the picture one more time. Okay. All right. Let's do the roof. Alizarin crimson. Let's do that. Let's go with yellow ochre on this one. Yellow ochre, remember, is a little bit more opaque, and I want this to be a little bit more on the opaque side. So this will be like the acting foundation. It's a little bit dark on this side. So I'm just going to add a little bit of ultramarine blue to the same mix here. You got that little shack as well. Let me vary this a little bit. All right. So as you see, when you're working with acrylics, you have to work in stages. Okay. Right now you're looking at it and say, well, this almost looks like a really watercolor painting more than anything, right? Because a lot of this stuff is transparent, blah, 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 blah. And it's because you'll see as this dries, I will go back with more colors, just building up the layers. And what that's going to do is going to work to my advantage, because I may want to keep this loose watercolor paint texture over here, because eventually I might put some opaque against some of this semi-translucent colors, and it will really give you that visual texture. Okay. You probably can't picture it right now, but you will see as we go on and you replay the video, you will start understanding what I'm talking about. It starts out like almost like a watercolor, just like in oils, like you would do a wash. Okay. Same thing with acrylics. But right now what I'm doing is giving myself leeway to be able to add darker colors or go lighter. So I'm starting with really a middle value. Okay. Not too dark, not too light. So that will give me a leeway to go darker and lighter. Some people could just go straight dark, 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 and then, work their way to the lights. But I'm not one of those. So just saying, I stay towards the middle, and I like this freedom of being able to go back and forth. All right. So let me see. Let's go with the sky. We're going to do a muted sky. Let's go ultramarine blue. Let's go with a little bit of yellow ochre. It's going to give me that grayish. Let me see if I really like this. Yeah, I kind of like that. Let me get enough of it. The reason why I used yellow ochre, you might be wondering why, is because yellow ochre has, well, of course, some yellow, and it's got red as well into it. So it will give you like this orange plus the blue will give you like a cool gray. And like kind of a greenish gray. Let me see. Well, I want to go on more on the blue side with that. Yeah, that works. Really love these brushes and how they apply. We'll build back up that tree in a few minutes. And if I don't like this blue, if it's not working out for me, on the second pass I can, change it. Because most likely I will need a second pass. Then I'm just cutting in some of the drawing that I did. Use a little bit of crimson towards the horizon, maybe a little bit of yellow ochre. Wet my brush a little bit. There you go, let's add some reds to that. Give it this humid look. Okay, so now most of this probably has already dried. Yep. Good. All right, we could proceed. Now, let me see. I'm gonna probably start with, let me go back over the darks here. So let me show you how that works to show you what I was telling you about, those darks working in stages. Same mix, alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue, and burnt umber. So watch how dark you'll get with this. See? Darker now, isn't it? I see some darks in here too as well, and these bushes. Go back over this as well. Okay. Some here as well, so you can see some of the house. All I'm doing really is cutting in what I already did. All right, now let me add some. I use in that same mix here, burnt sienna. Make some darker tones here. Really start bringing out some of these colors. Let me see. I'm going to bring down to a smaller brush. I'm going to be using now a number 2. I'm going to use some ultramarine blue, sap green. Make this dull kind of greenish color here. Maybe a little bit of yellow. Ooh, too much. Let me go a little bit, add a little bit of red to this green to tone it down. Wherever I see some of this green here. And really these are like mid-tones right now that I'm using. I haven't even gone to my highlights yet. which I'm saving for last. If you find your paints are sticky, you probably need to wet your brush there a little bit. This tree here. Again, remember this is supposed to be loose. Chromium oxide green and a little bit of red. Just work a little bit everywhere. I see there's a tree here in the background. Let's put that in. Add a little bit of burnt sienna. There's some here too. There's that tree that I removed earlier. And there's the other one here. And we'll be putting branches on these afterwards. So basically right now what I'm doing is just layering. Okay. Trying to correct my values, how dark or how light. Burnt umber, let me put a little bit of sienna, maybe a little bit of yellow ochre. I see some of that in here. Let's throw some of it here in the dark here. Show you the painting again, the picture. Okay. All right, let me see. Let me start working on that roof a little bit. So let's go alizarin crimson. Now you don't have to do it exactly like the picture, folks. You can vary your painting to your liking, okay? Just because you have a reference photo does not mean it's basically just that, a reference photo. You don't have to use it all the time. So I can see some. So this is going to need some working on. We're going to put some darker colors, some lighter colors. We're going to push back and forth here. Putting some crimson. Follow the contours of your subject. So basically what I'm doing is going darker right now because I'm going to go lighter in a few minutes. Right now I'm just trying to build up the colors so I can add lighter ones afterwards, so you can see some of the highlights. So basically I'm just making markings, you know, just little markings. Already you can see it's like almost like an old roof, right? When I start putting the highlights, then it's really going to stand out, because what I'm trying to do is make this as muted as possible. And by muting the color, when I put a higher chroma, meaning like more of a pure color on top of this, then you will see the color, the highlights stand out more against all these muted colors. Okay, that's the trick behind this. All right, so now I need to actually darken this up even a little bit more. So alizarin crimson and a little bit of ultramarine blue. We're gonna and what's nice about acrylic, you could go back and forth with your colors. Not like, you know, with oils where you have to, you know, be mindful of the fat over lean, thick over thin. Acrylic doesn't work like that. Acrylic is like the honey badger of the mediums. It just really does not care. There's some shadows here of trees. Notice, you know, really doesn't matter. Look at that, just like that. You know what, let me add some Nathal red. Nathal red, I got my little golden open here. Let me add that. I may not use that, I'm not 100% sure, but I may want like a stronger highlight. Now these golden opens, like playing with oils, I swear, they dry like really, really slow. Okay, so let me work this background a little bit more. Actually, you know what? No, let's start working on this tree first, because eventually I'm going to do highlights of grasses on top and I don't want to go back over it. So I'll work on the tree a little bit first, and then probably start putting some branches, work on this, and then probably work on the house. So for the grass, let's go with yellow ochre. Lots of white, and we're going to vary these colors too. Now I'm not wetting my brush because I'm going to want this a little bit on the dry side. That was the importance of putting this. Oh, let me go this way. Of putting this background color. I haven't wet my brush yet. And we're going to vary this. We're going to add other colors to this. Let's add a little bit of chromium oxide green. Let me wet this a little bit. I could use a wet palette, but as fast as I paint, I really don't need them that much. You can make your own stay wet palette by, if you take a napkin, fold it into fourths, threes or fourths, into quarters, I guess. You wet the napkin, okay? You're gonna wet the napkin, fold it. It's gonna have one long strip like that. Put it on your palette, put the napkin on your palette, put your paints on top. And the water that's on the napkin, well, I would wet out some of the napkin, take out some of the excess water, and put your paints on top of it. And then the water will wick to your paints and keeping them wet longer. So let's put some green grasses here and there. Let's put some burnt umber, just arbitrarily, just putting some darker. And what's nice is I can go back over in a few minutes. All right. Okay, so like I said, let me go back to the tree here. Chromium oxide green. Let's go with first a little bit of yellow ochre. Because that yellow ochre, remember I told you has some red in it. So it's going to really mute down that green. So there's really no sun in this picture, but we're going to pretend and add. So this is going to be kind of like my mid-tone. Add some here, 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 there. And you're going to see when I add just chromium oxide green and yellow after. There's some there too. I see some mixed in with some of these background color here, there. Let me add a little bit of burnt sienna to that, really tone down that green. Kind of makes it look like a reddish green now. Let me work on that sky a little bit more too. I'm going all over the place, as you can see, and just adjusting as I see fit. There's one part I want to adjust. Bring this out a little bit more, some darks. There you go, so you can see. Make some of these colors stand out. There you go. Okay. All right, as you can see how it's progressing, right? So let me fix the sky, and then we're gonna start heading back into the painting. All right, bigger brush, back again. We're gonna go with the number 6. I could go bigger than that. I could actually use a number 8, but I don't think I have a number 8 here sitting around. So let's just go with whatever we have. All right. Lots of white. Ultramarine blue, maybe a little hint of burnt sienna, little hint of crimson, and more blue. Give it like that, maybe a little hint. Oh no, I don't need any yellow. Let me see. Ooh, I kind of like that. And I'm just chopping these colors up, meaning like broken colors. Okay. So you can see some of the background color showing through. A little bit everywhere. Here you go. There, 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 there. There, 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 there. There you go. All right, now to some of the limbs on a tree. Let's go burnt umber. burnt sienna, maybe a little bit of blue. Wet my brush a little bit so I can get some nice thin lines. Let's see. We got these limbs that go everywhere. Wet my brush a little bit. Let's give this I could use a liner brush to get really thinner strokes, but I'm not, because this is supposed to be really more impressionistic than anything. If you wrote any comments and I didn't see it, I will try and go, let me see. Oh, I missed a lot of comments. Am I using acrylics? Yes, I am. The brush is firm. Not really firm, they're just perfect. I can't explain it. If you missed that first half, Beth, you could always go back. The video will be up for you to watch as much as you want. So if you missed something, don't worry about it. The video is there for pretty much ever. So once this video ends, after dinner, you could always go back and watch with friends, family, have a little watch party, and say to your girlfriends, oh, look, Kareem was painting, you know, let's watch. Some tree limbs here. I'm not making, I'm not really too crazy about, how. Add some green to that. Really mute this brown down a little bit. Have some branches here as well. Just having fun here. 1 second. Now I'm almost done with this nuance here. There's also some white branches that I see. Whoops. There you go. Scratching them off so they really blend into the background. There you go. I'm put some here just to give the painting dimension so it doesn't look 2D, like the tree is right here, the background brushes. I want to make that everything is like mixed in together. Some of these branches are in the foreground. Put some weeds here, put some weeds there. There's some here as well. Let's put a little bit of burnt sienna. There you go, just like that. A little bit everywhere, let me see. Add some highlight to the top of these trees with this burnt sienna and white that I used. I'm barely looking even at my reference photo right now. I'm just going to town here. Okay, now let me finish with this tree. All right, so that had time to dry. Next layer. So now, actually, let me see. I got some of this background color showing up here. All right, so now let's go chromium oxide green, cad yellow, maybe a little bit of white, more yellow, let's see how I want to warm this up a little bit. Let me see. Maybe add a little bit of yellow ochre. Yellow ochre and yellow. Now see how that's working against the muted colors? So I'm making the sun come from this direction. I just so happened that I decided that, and let's vary these colors a little bit. Some back here, some there, some there. Let me add more blue back here, some cooler colors against some of these warms. There you go. All right, let's work on that roof a little bit, and then we're gonna work on the grass. So let's start, let's make this nice orange. So I'm using my Nathal red. Yellow and white. That should pretty much start giving me a nice orange. Remember, I got some shadows here. More red. I'm varying some of these. I'm even adding a little bit of yellow ochre, really mute this down a little bit. Now there will be some blue from the sky that will reflect down as well. So let's add a little bit of ultramarine blue. Mute it down with this orange here a little bit. I picked up some of that. Want to really load up my brush here. So this blue and orange and red will really be kind of fantastic to go along together. Really give it like this old beaten down in some parts I'm going right over what I did. Let me put some highlight up here on this roof here. Actually, wrong color. White and a little bit of cerulean blue. Whoops, too much water. These brushes hold water pretty well, so you got to be careful. Give some of these highlights here to show the panels. Darn it, I'm missing one of my brushes. It's okay. I guess I'm gonna fix this highlight even better here. Now, I did see a comment about the desert scene that I painted. One of the videos I painted. Thank you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to avoid you, to bypass you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad you really liked that video. Let's see. Let's put some highlights here. Some dappled light. Putting dappled light inside some of the highlights that I just put on there. Because somebody was asking me about dappled light, how I do some of these. Some of you have a hard time. So I started with the medium, with the, how should I say, mid-tone value, and then I just went lighter above that, okay? Let me give some shape to this roof, the eave of the roof here. That blue is like really working out very nicely. There you go. This house is a little bit inconspicuous. Big words. Put some highlights here as well. I'm using this burnt umber, ultramarine blue, and naphthol red. I want to put there you go. Okay, so now they put some tree limbs. I see there's a tree limb here somewhere. Let's just put one. Really wet my brush. Normally I would use a liner brush for this, but whoops. Oh well. I must have misplaced it. There's one here as well. There you go, just like that. I see there's some panels here that are holding up the house. I see some kind of structure up here as well. Let's give this a highlight. Okay, so now playing around with grass a little bit, maybe a couple more highlights here, and then I guess we could call this pretty much done. Let me see through your questions. All right, okay, so let's do some of this grass. Maybe I'll use my fan brush this time. So yellow ochre, lots of white, maybe a little bit of yellow. Whoops, probably not. Tone that down a little bit. All right, just light touches. Right now it's pretty much like a dry brushing. Oops. I want you to vary the pressure that you're using. The amount of pressure you're using on the brush here, and vary where you put the closer you are, the taller the grass, the further you are, the shorter the stroke of the grass. Okay, so let's put some grass here as well. Some of these you could wipe to, you know, make it less obvious or obnoxious, whatever. And I went over some of the green that I did. See, and it's still showing. There you go. Boom. All right, boom. There. Yes, sirree. Um, more trees in the background here. A few strokes of color. Trying to vary my greens here, some darker. There you go. Initially, I was going to add some water back here as if it was like close to a river and stuff. Then I changed my mind. And I'm not really putting too much too much emphasis on this one back here, because it's really that shed back there is a package deal. As far as the painting goes. There you go, just to delineate. That shed from that shed, or whatever that thing is. Structure. I think we pretty much got this. Probably not. Hold on. Perhaps I should show some tree limbs. It's almost as if this tree doesn't have any backbone support. There. Bam. I think I'm done. Simple as that. It was just a quick, short and sweet. I hope you guys liked this demo. And if you want more demos like this, of like old barns and whatnot, let me know in the comments. And please, if you want to help this channel out, apparently YouTube does not like artists very much, because these peeps, I don't know what, but their algorithm is just like pretty kind of whack. So to help support me, guys, if you don't mind, please hit like and subscribe and hit that notification. ask questions and comments if you have any. You know, that will help support and help with the algorithm and whatever YouTube does with their stuff. And they'll just let me know that you really want to see more of this, and I will, you know, try and prep and do more for you. Okay. So again, thank you for always supporting me and watching my videos. And any questions, again, ask them in the comments. And with that, I say thank you, and you guys have a great evening. Good night. Thank you very much for the, thank you. Appreciate, yeah, share with all your other groups. That will really help me. Have a great evening, folks.